Hello there and welcome. Uh, when I was a younger person, my mother told me, if you really want to understand your grandfather, you should watch the movie Jeremiah Johnson. And, honestly, you could say the same thing about me to some extent. And a lot of that is because I grew up around him. And a lot of that is just, I think, in the blood or some shit. Give a fuck about if I die cold and alone in a cabin somewhere. That's cool with me. I just don't want to live being controlled by somebody else every fucking second of my life. Like, I don't know why you would want to live on a planet with 7 billion people. like, I think Alaska looks like fun. That's, I don't know if I'll ever get there. Maybe someday. For now, I kind of figure I'm going to go do, everything I do in Alaska, probably somewhere in Oklahoma. And it's some mountain man shit and like some building cabins and that kind of shit. But like, that's what I've always wanted to do. And like I see the appeal of such a life, and it's not low. Like all you're doing is chopping firewood and doing whatever. Like you build your setup to where you do what you want to do. Like you will have to cut some firewood. That is a thing. You're gonna have to do that. Okay, you're gonna have to do a few other things like garden and hunt and whatever. But like if you like doing most of those things, it's not as big of a deal. My main issue is that I like doing most of those things until it's like 100 outside. Then I kind of fucking hate life. Uh, and it seems like basically there's nowhere to get away from that because like you'd be like, oh, go to Alaska. They say it's still hot in Alaska. Personally, I think they're a bunch of fucking pussies or some shit that probably just never set foot in Oklahoma or Texas in August. Like it's hell. When the devil wants a break from hell, or when the devil wants a break from Oklahoma, he goes back to hell. If I could say it right. That's just how it is here in the summer. And like some of my stuff that I'm wanting to do is off grid and probably not gonna have an air conditioner, and that's gonna suck. But it's not gonna suck that bad. I figure I'll have fans and cold drinks and shit like that. Have the house built appropriately, air out in the night, that sort of shit. Anyway, back to the movie Jeremiah Johnson. It is this story of a man who I think it's in the 1830s, like 1836 or so, just takes all his shit, goes as far west as he can, gets on a fucking steamboat on the Missouri River and takes it as far west as he can, buys a Hawken rifle and a horse, and just heads off into the mountains. And lots of shit happens in the movie, but the best part about this movie to me is that it's written by John Milius. It was directed by other people, and there's a lot of changes made to the script in between when he wrote it and when they made that movie. But John Milius is the man that wrote Red Dawn and Conan and Apocalypse Now and many of these other movies that I really love and a lot of you guys probably really love. And Jeremiah Johnson is one that maybe you didn't know he worked on because like it's not, something that's, made a big deal of or whatever. But it's why the story is so good. Uh, Partway through the movie, some shit goes down with some people that he befriends, and bad shit happens, and he ends up on like a quest for vengeance. And the whole back half of the movie is just him fucking taking scalps, pretty much. It's a really good movie. It's very much in you know the vein of a lot of movies that I love, like The Edge or it's Far From Home. A lot of these like survival movies. This is not a survival movie, but this is a mountain man western, and like it's all sorts of little cool adventures, and it's very much Conan, but set in like the 1830s West. He's like on this epic adventure, and he journeys from place to place and does things and has weapons and has adventures and fights and whatever. And like, if you like Conan and you like Red Dawn, you should definitely go watch Jeremiah Johnson. It should be cheap too. Whether you know, or you can probably find it for free somewhere. Not that I encourage that, but my thing with finding shit for free places is mainly that if it's something that you really love, it was made by someone. And every time that you see it for free someplace, you're taking money out of their pocket and putting it in China's. And, you know, not that like millionaires need all your money or whatever, but like, you know, they're not all millionaires, A, and B, even the millionaires are millionaires because they're legitimately talented and make good movies and shit. I like to support the artists that make the shit that I like, and the shit that I like the most is movies. So why on earth would you pirate it? That's a major like disagreement that I've had with some of my friends for many years. But the cool part about Jeremiah Johnson, since it is a John Milius movie, it's gun heavy, and it's all about his Hawken rifle and black powder shit, and you know, there's some bow and arrow shit and tomahawk shit, that kind of stuff. Like, I think all of that is cool. I'm more into weapons than I am guns. I've always thought guns were cool because they were the most readily accessible and most technologically advanced weapon. I love swords and spears and axes and tomahawks and bows and arrows and black powder firearms. And this is a cool movie. It's one of the greatest westerns ever made. It has beautiful shots of, I think it's mostly shot in Colorado, but it might be shot in Wyoming and Montana too. It it covers some country, and he's kind of all up in that like Blackfoot area. So they could have filmed it pretty much in anywhere in there. Um, it also is a an early western that had very good depictions of Native Americans, in my opinion. It's not, you know, if you watch some of the really earlier westerns, you can see some horrific shit where they like have a white man painted red talking like this, "How he ko wokum ha 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 ha," and like this is a movie where like they're speaking the actual native languages and have actual Native Americans in correct costumes for the period and whatever, and that's all fucking cool. Like honestly, I think if you're gonna make a historical piece, it's not bad that you know did red face or whatever necessarily. I think it's kind of in poor taste. It's bad that like you could have done it the correct way and you chose not to. That's more what my issue is with it. It's not the right way to make a movie. Go watch The Revenant. Uh, it The Revenant and Jeremiah Johnson have a lot of shit in common, in that they're these like mountain man movies, and there's not very many of those made. But the few ones that are usually pretty damn good because they were made in the era of the Hollywood Western. Cat, what is it? My cat wants weed. Anyway, they were made in the era of like the peak of the Hollywood Western, and you got really good quality movies set in that time period then. And occasionally someone would make a passion project that was a mountain man movie, and that's where we get these gems like Jeremiah Johnson. And even I would say The Revenant is kind of that way. That's obviously someone's passion project as well. I think there was actually a Hugh Glass movie made at some point. I'm not sure on that one. I should have looked up a list of mountain man movies before I made this, but I just kind of made this off the spur of the moment. I want to talk about Jeremiah Johnson. It has Robert Redford stars as Jeremiah Johnson, and he's great. I love Robert Redford. He's a great actor, especially in Marvel. I loved seeing him as the fucking Hydra dude. Like, not to spoil that, but that was pretty badass. I'm trying to think of other cool shit. Oh, there's a crazy. There's a couple crazy mountain men that he meets along the way. I forget who plays them. That's not really even important. They're just cool characters. One of them, like, is a guy that traps and eats grizzly bears. And on their first meeting, he puts him inside a cabin with a live grizzly bear. And the other one, when he meets him, is buried up to his neck in dirt, as one is, because occasionally you get caught cheating at cards or trying to fuck the chief's wife or whatever the fuck it was he did. I don't remember how he ended up in the dirt, but there's several other things in that movie. They're cool, and it's a classic piece of cinema. That's one of my favorites and one of my grandfather's favorites. And if we both liked it as different as he and I are, like, I'm a trans woman and he was a Marine Corps officer who hated gay people. That's probably a video for a different day, but if we both like that movie, there's probably something to it. Well, thanks for watching. I'm probably going to do more of these on different movies. I definitely want to do one on Predator, and I definitely want to do one on, what was it, Top Gun, and the new Top Gun. If you have not seen the new Top Gun yet, go see it in theaters. It was amazing. It's worth paying to see it in the theater. That's the best movie I've seen in a long time. But I'd like to do not necessarily new movies, but they're mostly older movies that I want to do videos about. That's why I don't get the obsession with talking about everything that comes out that's new. Is because we haven't even talked about everything that was old yet, and the old stuff is cooler than the new stuff, in my opinion. I definitely want to do some John Wayne movies too. I had a whole video about John Wayne that I kind of filmed in the middle of the night, and it wasn't good. It was full of lots of cat noises. That's what he does when he wants weed. So we'll go now. Thanks for watching, and I hope somebody liked this.